Good morning, folks. A little chilly this morning, but it's 7 degrees. It's still overcast this morning, so I came out and I said, oh, the lighting is great for making a video. So I'll go and do that now and give you a little look at what the rest of the garden is looking like outside of the veggie plot. So, the winds rustled this all around. But I'm going to take all of this wood out of here now, and like I've been saying, I'm going to collect up the materials during the off season, so that when things thaw out in the fall, I've got all the materials to do all the framing that needs to be done. The apple tree now, I have picked up 2 5-gallon bucketfuls of apples. This year I'm just taking the ones that are not completely clean, but something that I can just peel, and most of the apple is good. I'm not going to bother with the little tiny ones and the ones that are really bad fungus spots on them. There's a lot still up in the tree, and I've learned to do a bottling that I like, that I could just open the bottle and eat as a dessert. So I'm making a bunch of 500 milliliter bottle preserves, and then what I'm going to do is the ones with the spots that I have to peel, I'm going to cut them up in pieces and freeze them after I get the number of bottles done I want. The ones without blemishes, I'm just going to throw them in the freezer whole and make juice out of them later. I mowed over the vines, squash vines. That's what all these pieces are on the ground. That's what the mower didn't get up. I use that to cover the bed. I also want to show you this because I came out this morning and I realized, you see, they're getting close to ripe. They turn a deep purple, almost black. So I've got some huckleberries that are close to ripe now. This plum tree, remember last year I cut off all the branches that had black knot on it? This is the only plum tree I have, and so I don't want to lose this right now. And I'm thinking the proper way for me to go about it now is I'll cut off that, and I'll just go and I'll saw off all of the black knot, and if the branch dies out past where I've cut off the black knot, then I'd have to cut off the branch. But otherwise, just cut off all those lumps and keep doing that every fall until I figure out another option. Now, that being said, I know of several different varieties of plums. They all are susceptible to black knot. So if you know any that is black knot resistant, then you can leave it in the comments and I can check it out and see if they'll grow here. This cherry tree, now cherry trees are something else that gets black knot. But this one, right alongside the plum tree that's loaded in black knot, not a speck of black knot on it. So this one is very resistant, and if I want more tart cherries, this is a tart cherry, just clawing away at this one. Of course, you've seen my seaberry growing very well. I've cleaned this up. You didn't see this after I cleaned it up. And I cut down the cherry tree and trimmed off all of the shoots. Now this is the plum tree shoot here. Now I don't know how long it's going to take before this starts producing, because the apple tree on the cliff, it was getting eaten by moose, and it was just one little scraggly branch, and the branches that turned in underneath, the moose couldn't get at it very well, so that's how it was staying alive. But it put up some suckers, so I put a fence around it and cut down all the suckers except for one. And it was only 2 or 3 years and that sucker was producing. So it might be only 2 or 3 years and I'd have plums off of this one. The rhododendron is, it hasn't been growing, but I'm coming along, and as I tell everybody else, your garden, you start out small, get that to a point where you can easily take care of it, and then you expand and expand. And this year I have been expanding, and I've got the I'm starting to get out around the bushes now. Of course, you have to plant your trees earlier and just put them out there, and hopefully they don't die before you actually get to the point of where you can really tend to them well. Mushrooms, I have mushrooms popping up everywhere. Now this starts with a B, as far as I know. It's one of the mushrooms that people forage for eating. So it's an edible mushroom. I'm not going to use them this year, but next year I might. And see, there's a small bunch there and a small bunch there. So the fungus is in the ground. They'll pop up again next year, I would assume. The other thing is I might get the mushroom spores, like from wine caps or something, and put in the paths in the garden. You see now how the leaves are all turning. These are going dormant now. The black locust seems to be still carrying on. The honey locusts are going dormant. This has been here a few years and it's not growing very well. I don't know if it's because I haven't taken care of it very well, or is it because it just doesn't like it there. As far as not taking care of it very well, as I've been saying, I'm not embarrassed about it. It's just that I haven't been able to take the time to do it. And now that I'm very happy with this year, because I think I've got the vegetable garden now pretty much under control. I think next year is going to be very easy for me to take care of. And in which case I'll be getting out and in the surrounds and taking care of these perennial things. The berries that are left for the wildlife are falling off of the currant bush. I don't know who eats them. They didn't eat them when they're up there, but I would assume somebody eats those berries. Here's another example. As I was saying, you put the perennials out and hopefully they don't die before you get a chance to get everything else under control and you can get to them. This oregano is growing very well, and another bunch over there. The blueberries now, as I've been saying, that's this one here. I'm going to move them because I don't think they like it there. That's why they're not growing. I have Jerusalem artichoke. It's starting to open. Who knows? I mean, the forecast, we don't have frost for another 2 weeks. We might get one flower off the Jerusalem artichoke this year. Greta tells me, if I remember correctly, she digs up her Jerusalem artichoke last of October and then puts back several tubers for to grow the next year, and then the rest of them, of course, she takes in to eat. This bed, remember, I took up all the sod, fluffed up the subsoil, covered it in compost, and as you can see, like I've been saying, I haven't been able to tend very well to the outside areas, and there's not much weeds in this bed. If I were to just till this all up and go with that, then I would have weeds like crazy there. And the other thing that I found if I put cardboard down and put a little bit of compost over the top, once the cardboard deteriorates, then I'd have weeds like crazy. If I killed it with a tarp and then planted it in afterwards, it would be even worse. Down here, this is the one where I put cardboard down, and the weeds were worse, but they are taller weeds. So a couple times I did go by and rip out the taller weeds, but you can see many of those weeds now are coming back. This is much more weedy than what that is there. I just had a few seeds blowing on that. There's enough water in this pond for a frog to lay its eggs in, I think. Getting a little bit, I don't know. Like I say, we just have to wait and see. But this is one of the other steps I got forward this year. Made forward progress. Right, I've got this cleared all around. And that dammed off to hold back some water. And it goes up there to the other small pond. Pear trees are going dormant, starting to turn color, and well, some of the leaves are getting the fungus on them, but that's just because it is going dormant. Cherry trees are a little later going dormant. I think they're all like that. I got this cleared up during the summer. I had a mess here last fall, because I cut down all those trees and there was just nothing but a mess here. So I don't think you've seen this cleared up yet, all the way out to the initial ditch that was coming down from the well. And what I'm doing is putting the clippings along here, and I'm going to be planting some perennial flowers along here. But of course, even if I want to put in seed, I can move back this mulch and put down seeds ever so far, and just have little spaces in the mulch until the seeds start growing, right? That hose I put here, just a little dribble from the hose, enabled these nasturtiums to grow. They wouldn't have grown that well if I didn't put that hose there, I don't think. These are another edible mushroom, but there is a very poisonous mushroom that looks a lot like them. So if you know the differences, you can tell them apart easy enough. The issue is, of course, if you go out and you're foraging these and there's a destroying agent right alongside, you might be picking away at mushrooms and pick the destroying agent, not realizing it, and then you've got just your one poisonous mushroom in your bunch, not paying attention to it. You fry them up with the rest, and then the next thing you're dead, right? So it's not a good idea to be commonly eating those. I got more perennials put out by the fence, echinacea and of course the columbine. I did plant some seed that grew, but it didn't come all the way to flower. Along with calendula, I have another oregano here. So as I've been saying, now I'll get to this as the other areas get easy to control, and I think I'll be able to do this. This area, including up by the apple tree on the cliff, I think comes to 0.6 acres. And eventually I'll get that under control. I don't know if I mentioned I've got a frame put around these, so next year now I won't have these just flopped out over the lawn again. They'll be grow up straight and stay up straight. Leaves are turning color on the maple. When I went to see what grapes are in the middle here, I was digging among them and I decided to just cut out that whole entire piece. I'm thinking I'm going to mow over that and keep it mowed down until I can get the framework put up, because they were all down in underneath and it was very difficult to get it out of the grass, and I had to just grab the vine and yank it up and see what was on it. So well, I mean, even if I had a little low fence, right, the vines will be up out of the grass that's growing around them. So like I said, mow this down, keep it mowed. Over the winter I'll get the poles that I'm going to use to make that fencing there, so that I can have a taller wall of grapevine going up there. I won't get as many grapes next year because I've got much less grapevine, but that's okay. We'll get back to it. Let's go up on the hill and see what the Russian mulberry are doing up there. Starting to lighten up. This is one of the Osage orange. And another Osage orange. So they're starting to go dormant now. Pretty much every one of the Russian mulberry are going dormant. But as you can see, some of them done very well. Even this one that we thought was a goner in the spring. I have the spruce cut out of here now so I can get that birch and make my planks. I'm thinking that's going to be, I should plant some of my trees right there. It's taken me a while to decide on how I wanted to end this video. I have a nice forest already to tend to. The goal, of course, is to add a lot of food producing trees and shrubs. The main center part with the vegetables are done and under control, and now we spread out around the periphery. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to follow along, and I shall see you in the next video.